Since the 1930s, Disney has consistently been producing family-friendly films, each accompanied by underlying messages. They also often draw from already existing stories, adjusting things to better fit their target audience. The importance of friendship and family are often very basic additives. So how did the changes they make to original tales sometimes facilitate conveying Disney's desired messages? Let's take a look at the original stories of some Disney classics. The Little Mermaid is originally a Hans Christian Andersen story, where a little mermaid allows her tongue to be cut out in order to attain human legs, which end up making her feel as if she's walking on knives. The prince in the story, however, still refuses to marry her, and so she dies and becomes sea foam. In Pocahontas' real story, colonists captured her, raped her, and forced her to convert to Christianity. She died at the age of 22. All of these things were of course left out of the inspiring movies. Similarly, The Lion King, the highest-grossing hand-drawn animated film in history, is based off of a much more somber original story, William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Like the aforementioned examples, this one too had some original scenes omitted. Disney kept the very general storyline the same. A prince loses his father to murder and must set things right. However, in Simba's story, he is tricked into giving Scar the opportunity to murder Mufasa, unbeknownst to Simba, and take over the kingdom. Simba initially runs away in shame, but in the end, he is convinced to come home, where he kills Scar and restores order. Hamlet's basic story is that he is to kill his uncle to avenge his father's death. Literary critic Bernard J. Paris writes, Hamlet is from the outset an angry, brooding figure, full of conflicts. In the end of the play, almost everyone dies. The beginning of The Lion King shows Simba being taught to be a good future king by Mufasa, exemplifying that this is his future duty. Yet when the time comes, and he must take his father's place, he runs from this responsibility and the shame of his role in his father's death. By removing the knowledge that Scar killed Mufasa, Disney makes sure that Simba does not focus on this, unlike Hamlet. Hamlet too is meant to be king, but he completely neglects his duty to his country. By adjusting the story, Disney is able to better convey to children the message that one must fulfill their responsibilities. Betrayal is a central theme of The Lion King. While Shakespeare puts more emphasis on Gertrude's betrayal of King Hamlet by remarrying Claudius, The Lion King puts more emphasis on Scar's betrayal of Mufasa. Hamlet is continually expressing distress over the disloyalty of his mother, and so alienates himself from her, and eventually from mostly everyone else. Simba initially alienates himself, but ultimately he always has Nala and Sarabi to go home to, whereas Hamlet feels he has no one. In this way, Disney is giving Simba more of a family, which facilitates their continuous emphasis on the importance of family. They want to convey that when you're in trouble, you can turn to your family for support, and that you should never forget where you come from. So did Disney take out the remarriage of Gertrude's character because children would understand that in the time of Hamlet it was seen as incestuous? Unlikely, but this factors into the image the audience is given of the uncle. Unlike in Hamlet, the audience is given more of a backstory of the brother to the king. From the very beginning, he is shown to be untrustworthy, evil, envious, and greedy. If the gracious and royal Sarabi married Scar, this would confuse the image of him as evil, so it needed to be omitted. The Lion King clearly expresses the fatal consequences of greed, the destructiveness of envy, and the poison of betrayal.
Didn't your mother ever tell you?
There has been a trend, more predominantly in earlier Disney films than current ones, of a male-oriented story and world. According to literary critic Clifford Christians in his book Mouse Morality, The Lion King conveys mixed moral messages on the subject of gender. In The Lion King, although Nala is depicted as being physically stronger than Simba, and certainly has equal in intelligence, she runs away from the Pride Lands, unable to defeat Scar on her own. She then finds fulfillment in becoming Simba's wife. Disney's initial characterization of her introduces her as a strong female, yet then diminishes this as the story continues. Sarabi too is shown as pretty insignificant. She plays no role in teaching Simba any of his life lessons, and her role as the head of the lionesses is mentioned only in passing. Critic Perry Glass observes, "Most Disney cartoon features have not included mothers at all. The title character in The Little Mermaid has only a father, as do Princess Jasmine in Aladdin and Belle in Beauty and the Beast. It is not totally clear whether Disney intentionally diminished the importance of females, but this can potentially shape how children perceive women. Questioning what changes were made from original stories and then looking at why these changes were made are important for understanding what messages Disney is trying to deliver to children. Clifford Christians writes that children experience the morals that Disney conveys as a dominant ideology. Disney is teaching our children, so it's important to know what they're teaching them. He continues by emphasizing the fact that Disney acts as a moral teacher is not disputed, nor is Disney unaware of its powerful potential to affect children. According to Franklin Fearing, Ph.D., a psychology professor at UCLA, with a few special exceptions, everybody, social scientists, movie makers, and laymen, seems to agree that there are profoundly important relationships between motion pictures and human behavior. Children are much more easily influenced than adults, and thus it is important to be aware that Disney is conveying both intentional and unintentional messages.